Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to talk about reframing your thoughts. So this is a question I asked probably a couple of months back, and I got a lot of great examples from you. I didn't get around to doing the video, so I'm doing it now. This is one of the most significant and important parts of being able to manifest. And a lot of people don't really talk about it, because really what it's about is the narrative that we tell ourselves every day, and how that narrative can be really cruel. We can be really, really hard on ourselves and really cruel to ourselves with the words that we say to ourselves. And the thoughts that you're having every day about yourself, what you can achieve, how hard you're working, what you're working on, how you feel about your family, how you think people feel about you, that is the foundation of manifesting, okay? So the first thing we're going to talk about are absolutes and how absolutes aren't true. So we need to remove those from our vocabularies. Absolutes are words like all, every, never, and always. Human beings have a flair for the dramatic, if you haven't noticed. That's why we love to watch dramatic TV shows, and that's just something that we're really drawn to, and we also use dramatic words in our language. For example, have any of you ever said to yourself, "This happens to me all the time. I'll never be able to get this done. He always does that to me." Or, "Every time I try, something happens and I can't get ahead." So the trick about words that are absolutes is that they aren't true. It's impossible to have an absolute. Things do not happen all the time. The same thing does not happen to you all the time. That means in not 1 second of your life are you having any other experience than that negative experience. Someone cannot treat you or do something to you always. That would mean every second of the day that person is always doing that to you. So do you see where I'm going with this, about how it's a little dramatic? So it's really important to remove those from your vocabulary, because what they're doing is you're saying to yourself, this negative thing happens to me all the time. It's always happening. It never works out for me. So this is the narrative that you're feeding your subconscious, right? It also just creates a certain thought pattern in our mind, and we know that the more we have a thought, that the easier it is for our brain to go into that groove, into that thought, right? So we need to correct our thinking and the narrative that we're telling ourselves. So now I'm going to give you some examples, and you're going to see that in these examples, absolutes are used almost 100% of the time. Notice I didn't say all of the time. Okay, the first one I have is low self-worth and self-love. Now, that itself is not a specific enough thought. We need to ask ourselves another question and get to, what are we saying to ourselves, or what makes us feel like we are not worthy and not worthy of love? The response was, I guess that I need to be or feel successful in every area of my life, essentially. And if I'm not, or if I fail at anything, then I'm not worthy to receive blessings, abundance, and opportunity. It's kept me stagnant for a long time. So there's those terms of absolute again, right? We're automatically telling ourselves, this is never going to get better. It's like this all the time. It's happening all the time. It's never going to change. So you're setting yourself up for failure. That's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So this is my response, and I'm going to go through a few examples and responses like this. Every is a term of absolute, and absolutes don't exist, which we've covered. Your thoughts are creating an impossible scenario for you to escape. This is actually a form of procrastination and self-sabotage. If we can't succeed at everything, an impossible absolute, then why try at anything? Now we're going to reframe this example. Now don't forget, the example is, I need to feel or be successful in every area of my life. And if I'm not, if I fail at anything, then I'm not worthy of abundance, blessings, and opportunity. The reframe is, perfection doesn't exist, but excellence does. I am excellent at, and you can use any example here, I'm an excellent friend, I'm an excellent mother, I'm an excellent daughter, I'm an excellent employee, I'm excellent at math, I'm excellent at doing my hair, I'm excellent at makeup, I'm excellent at color coordinating, I'm excellent at making XYZ, right? You have to challenge that negative thought that you've been putting into your mind, and you have to challenge it with something positive. So we're balancing this, right? I am excellent at, example, and if I'm excellent at one thing, I can be excellent at two. Excellence is achievable. I can achieve abundance, opportunity, and blessings with my excellence. So we're taking the power away from the absolute here. And what I want to specify here is that it's totally normal to have these types of thoughts. But what we want to do is counteract and balance them. I'm not telling you to never say another negative thing to yourself again, because that's impossible, right? So what I'm telling you to do is we need to counteract and balance that sort of dark place your mind wants to go. We want to present it with a light opportunity of a different place to go. We're not saying that place doesn't exist and to never go there. We're saying you give yourself an option and the opportunity for your thoughts to go over here. Okay? So let's take a look. This is another really great thing that anyone can tell themselves about just about any, to counteract any, just about any negative thought, okay? Is that, you know, when your kids are like learning to tie your shoes, or maybe you've been at a workplace and you had to train an employee, you know, a coworker or something, and they're not getting something right, and they're trying it and they get really frustrated and they say, I'm never going to be able to get this. So what would you tell that person? Would you say, you're right, you're a total loser, you're never going to get it, let's just quit now, this isn't for you, you're never going to tie your shoes, wear Velcros, you're never going to learn this job, give up, you might as well quit now? Or would you say, this is brand new, you have to learn how to do it, and learning is a process. We're going to have to repeat it and go through it a few times, and it can be tricky, it can be difficult, but it's possible and you can do it. I believe most of you would say the second response and not the first. So try being that friend to yourself when you're having a problem, when you're having something that seems impossible, when you're in a thought pattern and you're telling yourself you can never do this. I want you to be your friend at that point, okay? Be a friend to yourself. I know that sounds a little cheesy, but it works and it's the truth. We need to be our own friends, right? So let's take a look at another one. All right. Negative self-talk is, what are people going to say when you quit your job with only 4 years left until you get your pension? Do you really think you can change careers at 42 and be safe? And so I asked this person to expound on this a little bit. This says they no longer identify with their previous career. They believe it hurts more than it helps now. And they want to help people and bring them into their true selves, not have people afraid of them. So the reframe to this would be, I'm making this change to help others. I'm ready for this shift because it's how I will bring the most good into the world. This will bring peace to my spirit and help to others. And I choose this change over seeing fear. Okay? So that's the reframe on that. So I'm going to try to look at a couple more examples here. Now let's see where we've got. So I hope that this is sinking in for you guys. And okay, here's a great one. Nothing I do matters. I'm unappreciated. So I had to expound on this a little bit with this person, and I asked, who do you feel underappreciated by? The response was, my kids, my significant other, my mom, my brother. Not always, but I find that I get into that pattern a lot. So this is a great example because children are a great example. When you have dependents, it could be children or other family members that depend on you, you can often feel underappreciated or unappreciated because you are the sole one doing everything for them. Now, some of that can't go away, especially with children, because it wasn't their choice to be brought here, right? It was our choice to bring them here. And so they're dependent on us, and that's not their fault. So we need to do what we need to do for them and be responsible and healthy, caring parents, right? And children will leave you feeling unappreciated sometimes. Trust me, I know. I have 2 of my own. But an important thing to think about when you're feeling underappreciated is why you're doing the things that you're doing. I was always taught by my grandmother that we don't do things for a thank you. And she would do something wonderful to me because she was a very generous woman. And I would say, oh, thank you so much, Grandma. And she would say, I didn't do it for a thank you. Save your thank yous. She did it because she wanted to. So we need to re-examine why we're doing things for other people. Are we doing them to get gratitude from a person, to get a thank you, to hold it over their head, to keep a score of how many things we've been doing for other people? Or are we genuinely doing it because we wanted to do it, and it doesn't matter if they appreciated it or not? Because that's where the truth lies, is that sometimes it's going to be appreciated and sometimes it's not. You can never do things for other people and then always expect gratitude and appreciation in return and think that you're going to get it, because that's an absolute, right? We're not always going to get a thank you. So this comes to boundaries, okay? How much are you doing that you have to do? And how much are you doing that you don't really have to do? So if you're doing too many things that you feel like you're expecting gratitude for, that's not the right way to go about it. And you need to draw some boundaries and do the things you absolutely have to do for the other person. And the rest of the stuff you need to start weighing out. Maybe they need to figure out how to do it on their own. Maybe they need to see you not do it for a while, so they pick up the slack and they start doing it themselves. The idea is to say no to what you can say no to, and you'll feel more fulfilled by doing the other things that you have to do for people that you may or may not get gratitude for. So it's very important to make sure that we draw those boundaries, okay? Either do things because you want to and you're not going to get a thank you, but you still wanted to do it because you're a good person and you wanted to do it from your heart and it was the right thing to do. Or start drawing some lines and some boundaries of things that you are no longer going to do for this person. So my response was, do the things you truly want to do for them and limit the rest. We don't do things for other people, for others for appreciation or for thank you. We do things for others because we want to. Perhaps you're saying yes to things you truly don't want to do. So basically just what I went over. So here's another real quick one, okay? This is actually talking about negative thoughts pertaining to someone else. And this person is sort of wishing that this other person would suffer for the way that this person had treated them. The problem with that is that the more you think about that other person and what you want to happen to them and what you think would be justice or balance, the more they control you. Now they're controlling your thoughts and you're thinking about that person all the time. Not only that, but when we have thoughts of anger or violence and that consumes us concerning another person, that can start to take its toll on your health. You know that saying about getting angry at someone else is like drinking poison yourself. It can literally cause you to get physically ill. Sometimes we get so angry we can't eat, we can't sleep, we can't focus, we can't take care of, the people around us that we love how we should. So I want you to think about whether or not you want that person to have that control over your life, that control over your physical body, over your mental state, over your emotions. And I want you to decide if you want to be if you want to have control over those things yourself, or if you want to let this other person control it with how you're allowing them to make you feel. Because they're not making you do anything. They're not opening your head up and getting in there with a screwdriver and tweaking the angry part and making anger happen in your brain. You're allowing it to happen. So again, with the boundaries, that can mean don't communicate with the person. Don't be around the person. And if you live with this person, it might be time to reevaluate and maybe file an eviction notice. So I want you all to be happy and safe and healthy this year. And I hope that these reframing ideas and skill set, I really want you to try to work on this year and give this gift to yourself, okay, of reframing your thoughts. So just to wrap up, a few things that in general you can say to yourself when you say, I never get this right. Let's try, I didn't get it right this time, but I want to keep trying, and I know one time I will succeed. It's about the journey and not reaching a summit, okay? It's very easy for us to think about success as this point way up high on a mountain where once we climb hard enough and far enough, we reach success. But that's actually not what success is. If you want sustained success, it's going to be success along the journey of making good choices, positive steps towards your goal. If success was an end-all, you would get there, your success would happen, and then it would end and be over. And that's not real success, right? We want sustained. We want stability. So I want you, when you have these thoughts to yourself, I want you to reframe them as, I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. Rome wasn't built in a day. There's a million ways you can say it to yourself, but allow yourself some grace, some time to get it right, some time to learn it, just like you would extend to anybody else that you care about. Okay? Success is the journey. It's not the summit. It's not the peak. Okay? Try to have good thoughts for yourself today. Be blessed.